Hello everyone and welcome along to part 2 of the quarterfinal What the Ruck just happened, where we're having a look at the second two quarterfinals and look forward to semi-final number 2. This is the, of course, opinion piece by myself where I discuss with you guys who are free to have your own opinions as well in the comments below or on Twitter or anywhere else. You can find me on Steam and the likes as well about the action over the Rugby World Cup, and we have a look at the matches, what's coming up, and all sorts of rugby goodness as well. So as always, sit back, relax, enjoy the discussions, have your say as well. And remember, this is just my opinions as well, so if you've got your own, like I said, leave them below and we can discuss all things rugby for the Rugby World Cup, the greatest competition on the world, and hasn't it been fantastic? We've seen two brilliant quarterfinals, South Africa and Wales, one of the best matches of the Cup so far, and then the All Blacks proving that they are almost a complete side with a dominant display over the French, but there's still four teams left in the competition. Ireland versus Argentina, a match that we were going to learn quite a lot from, I think, from this game. And then, of course, we have Australia up against Scotland, one that many were predicting to be a bit of a blowout. Got a bit of a surprise, I think, and the Wallabies, well, should we count their lucky chickens, they're still in the running for the World Cup. So we're going to kick things off here with Ireland versus Argentina. Now this match, I thought Ireland would get the victory, but when we learned about Sexton missing from the starting 15, that gave me doubt, and I think what we've seen from Argentina is such a huge improvement over the last few years, and at this World Cup we've seen that first half even more display against the All Blacks in their opening match of the World Cup in Group C was spectacular. They really pushed New Zealand, and I think they are one of the best sides of the World Cup so far. They're in the quarterfinal stage, and you know, I think they're good enough to go all the way. And Ireland, without Sexton, without O'Connell and the likes as well, missing key players out of their back row as well, there's a possibility here that Argentina could do the job. 15 times the two teams had met, Ireland winning 10 of them, and since the 2007 Rugby World Cup, where Argentina won the group match there, Ireland are on a 5-0 run from the last 5 results, which is massive. I mean, Ireland, this is their opportunity. They have never won a knockout match at a Rugby World Cup. This is a chance, surely, topping their pool, getting what a team they should beat. It's not like they're up against the All Blacks, South Africa, or Australia. You know, they're not up against Wales, who's a team that could, you know, they're probably up against what should be the easiest opponent so far for them to face. I mean, you know, they've beaten France, Argentina, they should have done it. But as this match turned out, it was a classic, an absolute ripper. Argentina showing that they are a team of the now, not only the future. They are superb, and this is exactly what went down. 4 minutes into the game, Argentina were in. They're in already. 4 minutes in, Moroni scored an absolute brilliant try, but it was one man, and I think he's quickly becoming one of my favourite players in the international game at the moment, Santiago Cordero. Oh, this kid is absolutely amazing. I really enjoy watching Cordero play. He is so quick and elusive, hard to put down, and he created this 4th minute try to Moroni. He just has speed, just to beat that initial defender and get in behind the defensive line is unbelievable, and that's exactly what he did there. He is so fast, beat his defender, got 1-2-on-1 with the fullback, you know, beats the offload away, and he just can beat defenders with his acceleration. He is amazing, and I cannot wait to see more of Cordero in the future. I think he's one of the best players of the Rugby World Cup so far, which is something I'll be looking to do as well. Best team from the World Cup when it concludes in a couple of weeks' time. I think Cordero, for me, is right there already, and it was Argentina with an early lead from an early try, but they didn't stop there, and 10 minutes into the game, Warnemouth was in for their second try. Now surely this had to have stunned Ireland. They would have been looking to play a complete structured match against Argentina, play the professional game, and play their way, into the game. But that's not what happened. Warnemouth scored the second try, and who created it? It was Santiago Cordero. Oh, I just love saying that name as well. Gets the big bust out wide, and he puts in the chip this time. He's got phenomenal footwork, but this time he looks to the boot, chips in field, and who's chasing through? But possibly the second quickest man, if not the fastest on the field. Juan Imhoff gives chase, and how he got this ball down inside the goal line just bamboozles me, because he slid in. You saw the replay of it, so close to that dead ball line, but he gets it down just in time, just before the knee goes into the chalk. What a try. It was all Cordero. What a magnificent finish from Imhoff, just inside the dead ball line, just inside for the try. Argentina were absolutely flying, and if they couldn't get any better, their explosive start continued when it was Sanchez who added 3 more. It was 17-0 to Argentina, and they weren't done there either. They were just looking to keep on piling the points, and they did just about get some more, getting a drop goal attempt as well. I mean, any points possible. Argentina were throwing them at the Irish at the moment, and Ireland had no answer whatsoever. But then there was some little reprieve for the Irish. A yellow card going to the tight head prop Herrera. No arm tackle on Keith Earls. Now's the time for Ireland to come back into the game. They were a man up. They were down by 17 points. Unbelievable. And they were really needed to get back in this match, and they did as well. They started to create a couple of chances. Rob Kearney with one, Henshaw with another, but they kept messing it up, losing the ball forward when that real chance started to create for them. But finally, just before the yellow card did come back onto the field, Herrera, just before he made his way back, 1 minute was all that was remaining. Ireland did cash in. Luke Fitzgerald grabbing the try, and he played a very good match as well. Fitzgerald, just a big run down the left side, puts on a big left foot step, and just gets in, just getting away from the tackler, took a lead, and he goes in for the try, cashing in just before the return of the yellow carded Herrera. That was what Ireland needed. They needed some points, because goodness me, they were really struggling. Both teams ended the half with some penalties and a lot of missed chances, as both teams were looking to, Argentina looking to increase their pressure and their lead. They were ahead by a good amount. Ireland needed a way back, and they needed to score them in sevens as well. Couldn't manage it, either of them, as the end of the first half was marred by just loose balls, mistakes from both sides as they went to half-time. It was Argentina with the lead, 20 points to 10. Ireland were in huge trouble against this great-looking Argentinian side. They got the start exactly what they were after, though, Ireland, as it was Geordie Murphy going over for his first test try just 4 minutes into the second half. Fitzgerald again was the one to create the chance, and this was a great chance from Fitzgerald as well. It looked like there was no way through. He just put his head down and looked to recycle the ball, charging forward, but the tackles were weak, and the tackles just slipped off, and he just hit down and went straight through. Couldn't believe his luck. Popped out the other side, had support from his flanker, as every good flanker should be. Murphy put on as many wheels as he could to get to the line, just had enough to get there, and it was game back on. The offload from Fitzgerald after his great break was the benefit to Geordie Murphy, who was in for the Man of the Moment award there. That was the try that Ireland needed, and that got them back within a try-scoring play of Argentina's score. They piled on the pressure after that as well, Ireland. That really changed the momentum back to their way. But the Argentinian defence, we've seen it all World Cup from them, and even in the Rugby Championship as well. Their defence is very hard to break down. Their forward play is very, very committed, and their work around the ruck is world class. We know how good their forwards are. We know how good their flankers are as well. When you've got the likes of Matera, Juan Martin Fernandez Lobby as well in there, and Senatore is an absolute tank at number 8. 3 very good back rowers. They've got second rowers, our Lavanini, very good around the rucks, and of course I heard Sakrivi, the likes of those great players in the tight, and Argentina were gaining the benefit of having those guys working in defence to keep the Irish out. Sanchez got down the other end and worked some magic with the tee, getting Argentina into a 6-point lead, 26 points to 20. Both teams looking for any points they can. But just like the start of the match, Argentina shut the gate with 2 fantastic tries in the dying moments of the match. 69th minute, and it was Jacqueline Tucalet who scored a great try in the corner. Now this one bamboozled me as well. How on earth did he get this ball down? He was absolutely munched into the corner as he slid through, and just somehow you see a hand with the ball twisted around, plunking it down. Just how he got and contorted his arm in such a way to put that down after he did a lot of hard work, breaking the line, fending off the defender, just swatting him away. He kept coming back. Eventually, there was about 3 or 4 of the Irish defenders on him. Somehow, I can't explain it, but took a lead. Great try, and Argentina added some more points to their lead, and they looked on top of this one for a big upset. Let's be fair, I think 99% of people expected Ireland to win this, but everyone seemed to have that thought in the back of their mind that Argentina were going to get the job done. Imhoff finished things off with a 73rd minute try, all from the work of Fernandez Lobby. He's such a workhorse, he's such a fantastic player for Argentina. He made a big break, getting his fend working. We know he's got a few wheels as well. He put the bust on, offloading to Imhoff, who's got all the speed in the world to absolutely burn through and score another try for Argentina. Their 4th try of the match, and with just 7 minutes to go, we knew Argentina were going to get the job done. Ireland, they attacked everything in the final 6 minutes, but really, they had never got through the Argentinian defence. And when in the second half, when they had huge amounts of possession and territory, the defence of Argentina lifted in the second half and held out very well, but you have to say this game was decided by 2 try-scoring flurries from the Argentinians. In the opening 10 minutes, we see Maroney and Imhoff get the 2 tries, and then 4 minutes apart, Tucalet and Imhoff scoring for Argentina as well. That's key. That's massive. To score your points in chunks, if that's how you do it, that's how you win matches. Take advantage of the lapses in defence from Ireland and get the points, which is what it is all about. Ireland, what can you say about Ireland? I mean, favourites to go through. They were dark horses to win the tournament, but injuries ultimately have ended their World Cup. O'Connell and Sexton, massive blows to an Irish side. Argentina, hang on, and they're in the semi-final. They are the first team in semi-final number 2, and it just confirmed my thoughts that Argentina are one of the best sides in this Rugby World Cup. Their attacking ability, Cordero, Imhoff as well, and I think the combination of Sanchez and Hernandez at 10 and 12 is extremely good. We've seen Argentina swap those 2 around in the Rugby Championship with indifferent effects, but I think having both of them on the field gives them that diversity and that ability to switch and change and have 2 playmaking options in their backline, and they've got the talent out wide. They just need the creation, the ability to make the chances, and that's what they're doing. They are looking so good right now, so good. Sanchez, he's key. I think he has been so good in this World Cup. I criticised him pretty heavily in the Rugby Championship, and I think he was half the reason why they were struggling. I really liked Hernandez when he came in the Rugby Championship, but Sanchez has come back strong. Boys come back strong, and like I said before, that combination Sanchez, Hernandez, 10 and 12, perfect. I think that's perfect, odds on perfect for Argentina. And the man I talked about at the start, Santiago Cordero, his attack, we know his attack's good. We've spoken about it many times, but I did notice in that game how good his defence was. How many one-on-one tackles he made. When it was a big opportunity to attack, he shuts it down with clinical tackles. That really shuts down attacks as well. I was impressed defensively as well with Santiago Cordero. I really like Argentina. I really like this team, and I would not be disappointed to see them in a Rugby World Cup final. And given the way our final match of the quarterfinals went, I really hope Argentina win. We will win the semi-final, that is. And that's what we're going to go on to next. Final score, for this one was 43 points to 20. A bit of a blowout in the end for the Irish. The match was a lot closer than that final scoreline gave away. But ultimately, Argentina, very good performance, and they are through to the semi-final. Now our final quarter-final match. This one was a biggie. I'll be fair, I expected the Wallabies to do this easy and make their way into the semi-finals. I expected it to be against Ireland as well, but it's all gone out the window. And boy, this game, I'm sure a lot of you have a lot to say about. So let me know what you think first and foremost about what happened in this match. We're going to go through the game. We're going to talk about a bit what happened at the end, and then we'll have a look at the semi-final that Argentina has booked a place in against either Australia or Scotland. What a match. What a match. Interesting stat leading into this one. Scotland had actually won 2 of the last 3 meetings against Australia, which is a great start for the Scots as well, to have that knowing ability that they've beaten Australia in their last 2 of their last 3 meetings is a massive thing to have behind them as well. But it was the Wallabies who got the first real chance to score some points. Bernard Foley should have been in the 5th minute to open up the scoring, but he lost the ball trying to offload when he was just about already over the line. It was a big chance blown straight away, and Scotland already, after just a few minutes, were breathing a big sigh of relief. Australia were attacking and attacking all for the opening stanza of the match. Scotland seemed to just be defending, and then when they got the ball, they'll clear the touch and then go back to square one, defending. Ultimately, it paid its toll when Adam Ashley Cooper dotted down for the first try of the match. All created by Tavita Kurandrani. A rush up on defence from one of the Scottish defenders. Didn't stick, he didn't take the man, he fell off him. Created a massive hole for Kurandrani, who went through, pass offload to Adam Ashley Cooper from the fullback, and in he goes for the first try of the game. That gave the Wallabies the start that they really wanted, and that was not what the Scots wanted at all. It really took Scotland 15 minutes before they started to get into this match, before they started to really wake up, and they got their first try not long after that either. It went to Horn. Now this is an interesting try as well, because you're standing at the base of the ruck, and there was no real defence around the base for Australia, so he just went straight through, straight past the ruck. Everyone was watching, their jaws dropped as Horn went straight through and scored the first try for Scotland. They were back in the game. Just simple stuff. Poor defence around the breakdown from Australia, and Horn, credit to him, put Scotland in for their first try. As expected, Laidlaw was key to this match for Scotland, and he kept putting the ball between the sticks every given opportunity, and Scotland were actually developing a nice little lead. Just after the 20-minute mark, they were leading 13 points to 5, but the penalties that they gave away gave the Wallabies the attacking territory they needed to launch their decent attack on the half-an-hour mark. Drew Mitchell was the one that benefited from this, with numbers on attack to defender and a simple finish for Mitchell. We know the Wallabies do simple things fairly well. They get the ball wide, they manipulate the numbers of defence as well, and they have finishers like Adam Ashley Cooper and Drew Mitchell. Both of them, they're not anything spectacular when it comes to wingers. A bit like Rob Horn as well, the injured Wallaby winger. He's nothing massively huge. He's not a massive ball runner. He's quick enough. He's not express, but they have that ability to hold on to opportunities, to finish plays, to get the right running lines, and that's what we've seen here from Mitchell. Exactly that. Right place, right time, held on to the chance, and put in a clinical finish. That's what they do, and that's how they win matches. A real killer blow for the Scots happened right on halftime. Michael Hooper going over for a 40th minute try. A rolling maul. We've seen it from the Wallabies all tournament. That's all they really attack on. That's a big part of their game, is the rolling maul. Hooper this time got a try. It was just penalties into the corner, rolling maul. It was too easy for the Wallabies. They rolled over the top of the Scots, and that put them right back in the match as they went half-time. But the boot of Laidlaw was keeping Scotland in the lead. They actually led at half-time 16 points to 15, despite the Wallabies taking 3 tries, none of which converted. Massive to go in behind Scotland had only scored one, but the boot of Laidlaw was getting them through. As expected, he's been so good with the boot off the tee. Into the second half, and now was when the real crunches happened. Sean Maitland sent to the sin bin for deliberately knocking on the ball, going for an intercept. Now this ruling is tough to determine whether someone has deliberately knocked the ball on and not gone for the intercept. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to call. Maitland, why would you go for the ball if you're not trying to intercept it? Slapping it down, it's a cynical thing to do as well. It's a tough one to call, but it was a big call to make. Just 2 minutes in to the second half, Maitland was gone for 10 minutes. Our customary yellow card for the match. It always happens every single time. And it cost the Scots as well. Drew Mitchell dotted down for his second try, and, not very much after half-time, just a minute after Maitland got sent to the sin bin, Mitchell was over. The maul, once again, the Wallabies used the maul so well. But it was the foresight here of Guinea that created this try. Looking around, base of the maul, rolling forward. Scotland were concentrating on the maul because they knew right on the stroke at half-time, Hooper got a really crucial try from that maul, and I think that's where Guinea caught them out. He quickly took it out of the maul, went to the left side, short side, and he pulled it down with Drew Mitchell way out wide by himself. Once again, we go back to the fact that the Wallabies just do what they do well. They finish the chances. Drew Mitchell, he's quick enough, he gets the ball wide, but he always finishes his chances. He does what he has to do, gets the ball down over the line. Nothing flashy, nothing spectacular, but it's still 5 points at the end of the day. That put the match back in the favour for Australia. It was a massive piece of defensive work that Laidlaw was left with as well. He was left all out wide, all by himself, defending against Mitchell, and he had no chance really. Mitchell, very strong nowadays, quick as well. Laidlaw, close to the line, was never going to stop Mitchell from bundling over in the corner. But Laidlaw, one to never give up. He kept the pressure on. His boot was keeping Scotland in the match, and the penalties, he kept chipping him over. 22-19 the scoreline at one point when Australia's lead was cut to just 3 points, and it looked like minutes after that they were in for another try. Adam Ashley Cooper running over in the corner after another maul creating the opportunity, but this one pulled back. The respite that Scotland were after was given. A knock-on was a call from Guinea at the base of the scrum, looking to quickly fire it out. Didn't go, called back, and that was a chance now for Scotland to wake back up. And would they do it? Yes, they did. 10 minutes later, just before the hour mark, Tommy Seymour charged down from Russell. The support play after Russell chased the ball down, got swamped by defenders, but the ball just beautifully offloaded from Russell up to Seymour, who hit the ball at a massive amount of speed, burned straight through the support. Key to that try happening, and it was Scotland back in the match again. They took the lead back, and they were really in with a chance to make a massive upset. Scotland's defence just grew better and better as the match wore on. They made two really distinct match-changing, try-saving tackles after they defended from the Seymour try. Those are the sorts of things that can win matches like these, but it wasn't ultimately enough, as finally Tavita Kurandrani crossed after a massive amount of pressure from the Wallabies. And the sad part about it is, first thing it reminded me of is the try he scored against South Africa in the 82nd minute or whatever it was of that match in Australia. Kurandrani just hits it at the angle, just so hard to pull down. That's his real asset, and well, we've seen it in the match against South Africa. How close was it to not being over the line? Was it over the line? Did he place it down? It just reminded me of that. All those thoughts come flooding back, but Kurandrani, just after the hour mark, awarded the try, and first thing that came to my mind, and I shook my head and thought, I don't want to think about that, not again. Kurandrani, he's so good at that, and he got the job done, but it wasn't over yet. Oh, This game took so many twists and turns. Australia were leading, but then Slipper gave a gift, an absolute gift to Bennett, an intercept try with just a couple of minutes remaining, a few minutes remaining, I should say. And he's in. He's in from the intercept. Scotland were leading. There was just minutes to go. It was 34-32. The upset was on. Can Scotland hang on? Can they hang on? The enthusiasm died. 79th minute. Australia awarded a penalty. Offside. Offside? Brendan Foley slots said penalty. Australia win. Australia win. 35-34. Now this is a huge talking point of this match. Everything before this is really irrelevant because this is what the massive discussions are about. The offside call from Joubert. Where do we start? Where do we start? Now bear with me here. The ball from the lineouts, carried back from Hardy, knocked on from a Scottish player, hitting an Australian player, and then into a Scottish player's hands. Now the rules have been absolutely dissected over and over again. World Rugby has said that Joubert made the wrong call. Cheika is coming out just abusing everyone because that's what he does. What's your thoughts on this matter? I'm going to give you my 5 cents. I think this comes down to perception of what happened. Now, the rulebook states that if a player is in an offside position by accidental goings on, so accidentally offside, you know, whatever you consider accidentally offside, getting hit with a ball when you're not playing the ball, I mean, it's someone's opinion as to what is accidental and what is intentional. Accidental offside is a scrum feed. Intentional offside is a penalty. Now, that is one side of things. You can say that guy was accidentally offside, the Scottish player that grabbed the ball. But was that accidentally offside? He intentionally went to catch the ball. I know that's impossibly hard to not try and catch that ball, but he was accidentally offside. He was retreating from a line out. So technically, that's accidentally offside. Retreating from a line out. The other matter is that the knock-on happened first. Scrum feed Australia. Accidentally offside. Scrum feed Australia. Intentionally offside, penalty. The other thing to consider is the fact that an Australian player played at the ball and was off an Australian player. Does that put the Scottish player in an onside position? Now this is absolutely tearing this match apart. Everyone wanted to see the upset. Everyone wanted Scotland to win. Everyone's finding ways to make Scotland seem like they shouldn't have conceded that penalty. Should have been a scrum. I think if it was the 30th minute of the match and it was 10-all, it would have been a scrum. I think so. But I think the pressure may have got to Joubert. Did he make the wrong call? I think he could argue that that was the right call, given that it's all down to how he perceives the situation. But I think it's really tough to make. I think it should have been a scrum feed, knock on first, or the fact that he was accidentally offside. Those are the first two things that come to my mind that should be a scrum feed. The rules around a breakdown, around offsides, around things like that, rugby rules are very complicated and very easily manipulated. That is a real problem with this, and when someone says, well, rulebook says this, it should have been scrum, someone else can manipulate that to another way and saying, well, this happened, it should be a penalty. It's very tough to call. You could see the way Joubert stumbled around making the call. He didn't commit instantly He delayed. He didn't know what he wanted to do. And the fact that was probably the biggest kicker to the Scots, the way he left the field at the conclusion of the game. You can call it unprofessional, you can call it, guilty conscience, you can call it many, many things. It didn't look good. It didn't look good. For whatever reason he left, it looked really bad. And it just gave so much more fuel to all the Scottish fans. It looked horribly bad. It looked really, really bad. I think it should have been a scrum. I think he should have ordered a scrum. Who knows? Australia could have easily fired it out for a drop goal. Who knows what could have happened. But what a way to end. Scotland's hearts, hopes dashed. It's a really, really finicky point. I want to know what everyone else thinks out there. I know you Scottish fans out there will think it was definitely only a scrum feed. What would have happened if that line out was taken cleanly? So many what ifs, so many hindsight things to look at. All in all, Scotland played the game of their life, and like they said in their post-match press conferences, Scotland were the best performing Northern Hemisphere team. You could probably say that quite fairly. You could say that very, very fairly. They were the most likely out of those 4 matches to make it into the semi-finals, and really, should have they made it into the semi-finals? There's a lot of discussion about that, so let me know what you all think and of that call, of that match as well. 35-34, the final score, Australia getting the job done. What a matchup though. What 4 quarterfinals it has been. Outstanding level of rugby. Such a disappointment that it ended that way. Joubert, we won't see him again in the World Cup. I don't think he is going home and probably hiding from anyone wearing a kilt. But such a disappointing way to end. I think this is going to do wonders for the World Cup as well. And the way that all 4 Northern Hemisphere sides were knocked out. I think if Australia won this easily, interest may well have waned very quickly away from the general rugby fan. But I think this has given people reason to get behind a team. And I think a lot of people are going to get behind Argentina. The team that faces Australia, a lot of people think Scotland should have beaten Australia, as we just spoke about. Argentina have the chance to get revenge. And I think Argentina's good enough. This really is a mouth-watering prospect for me. I am looking forward to Australia-Argentina. I think Argentina can win it, and they can win it well, and go to their first ever World Cup final. As I said to some of you guys on Twitter, Argentina to a final, I'm backing it. I'm backing it 100%. Argentina to win a Rugby World Cup would not anger me at all. I would not mind whatsoever. At the cost of the All Blacks would be hurtful, of course. My team to lose, you never want your team to lose. But if we're going to lose to anyone, I think for World Rugby, for the way Argentina has really progressed, I think they would be, I'll be very happy to see Argentina take the cup. And the way they've played as well, so expansive, so exciting. The way they've played, it is great to see for Argentinian rugby. So that is the semi-final. I've spoken about it already before I've already got into it. Australia versus Argentina. I'm backing Argentina 100%. Australia, they look so shaky. They're very forward dominated. Argentina, a good enough forward-based side to, I think, combat the Wallabies' strength, which is the rolling maul. I think they can combat that. I think they can nullify that. And I think they can really carve them up on the outside. So I just spoke of Australia's wingers, like Savannah Cooper and Drew Mitchell. They're quick, but I think when you look at X-Factor players on the wings, Cordero, Imhoff, well, I'm really looking forward to that. Those two against Adamashi Cooper and Drew Mitchell. The other matchup, Foley and Giteau against Sanchez and Hernandez. 2 very similar backlines. Looking forward to that as well. The backline battle. Whoever plays for Argentina, but like I said, Matera, Fernandez Lobby, Senatore versus whoever the Wallabies pick. You say Fardy, Hooper, Pocock. Oh, is Pocock going to be fit? It's a mouth-watering prospect. I'm really looking forward to this. The scrum battle. I think Argentina will crush the Wallabies scrum. The Wallabies really got shown some frailties in their forward play, set-piece play against Scotland. I think Argentina can do them. They can gain dominance up front. They can get the go forward through their backline, and then they got that X factor. Oh, that X factor of Cordero. I'm really looking forward to this. Looking forward so much to seeing this game, and I'm looking forward to really backing two teams in two semifinals. World Rugby, I think, is at a high at the moment. You know, to watch this from a neutral aspect as well as supporting a team, that just makes things so much more interesting. The All Blacks, South Africa, Argentina, Australia. I'm picking an All Blacks Argentina final as the two teams from Pool C. What's the chances of that as well? So exciting. I cannot wait for this weekend's action. Follow me on Twitter because it's going to be exciting this weekend. It's going to be magical. It is going to be fantastic. I'm going to be there throwing out all sorts of things, opinions, thoughts on the Twitter page. So join me on there. Get your thoughts involved. Leave your comments here today. I'm especially interested in what you all think about the penalty, the offside penalty. Yeah, I agree it should have been a scrum. That could have been so different. Imagine a World Cup semi-final, Argentina versus Scotland. That would have been so good. Almost World Rugby at its finest. We're getting a competition that more than 4 or 5 teams can win, which is really what you want of your World Cup. It's almost being like football, where so many sides could win it, given their day. But that is me for this segment. So much to talk about, so much to say. I probably missed off a lot of stuff I wanted to mention as well. The penalty, the big thing, the big talking point out of that. So let me know your thoughts. What's a weekend it has been, and another one, a stunner, coming up very soon as well. I'll be back again for more What the Ruck happened after the semi-finals as we look towards the final. Who's going to be there? Who do you think is going to be there? New Zealand, South Africa versus Argentina, Australia. Who's it going to be? Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all next time. Until then, as always, take care.